What's up, guys? It's Solo back with another video, and Joel Embiid is now firmly in the MVP race. Embiid's always been in the MVP race, especially coming off last year when he just won MVP. But after his last few games, I think it was 4 games ago, he dropped 50 against the Wizards. Last night, he dropped 41 against the Pistons. In the month of December so far, he is averaging over 40 points per game and I think like 13 rebounds. And for the entirety of the NBA season, I've been saying Jokic is the MVP. He should have won it last year, which he probably should have, but Embiid did go crazy. I think he averaged like 33 points per game come the end of the season. So that's hard, to look at that and say, no, someone else is the MVP. I know we had that Harden season where he averaged 36 points per game and didn't get it. But after the playoffs last year, when Jokic went on to win the finals, he won NBA Finals MVP, and Embiid pretty much got embarrassed in the playoffs. It was pretty clear to everybody, Jokic is the best player in the league. Jokic deserved that MVP in the regular season. I don't think Jokic really cares, but he would have had a three-peat. He would have been with some elite company, being, I think it would be the 3rd player in NBA history to ever three-peat with the MVP trophy. And I don't know about y'all, but this might be the toughest MVP race that I've ever seen. Or maybe not the MVP race, but what I'm trying to say is we've never had this many top level elite talents in the NBA at once. We're going to go through a bunch of the guys that are in the MVP race and break down kind of who should win it, why they should win it, and all that in today's video. And I feel like my opinion on this, my MVP pick throughout the year, is really going to change a lot this year. Right now, I think it's Embiid. You guys can see he's averaging 33.8 points per game, 11.5 rebounds per game, with 6.5 or 6.4 assists per game. And I don't know his exact block numbers, I'll get those in a second, but he's also playing elite level defense. And a lot of people are going to call him a free throw merchant, which I can't really blame him. If you watch him play, he shoots a lot of free throws. I think there was one game a few games ago where he had like 20 something free throws. Actually, and we'll talk about Giannis in a little bit. Giannis just dropped, I think it was 64 points. He had 32 free throws in that game. That's absurd. Like, a lot of these top guys are getting a lot of their points off free throws, which I don't know. I don't really know how to feel about it, but they're still getting points at the end of the day. Joel Embiid's been on such a tear recently. If you guys haven't been keeping up, last game he scored 41, like I said, 34 points the game before that, 38 the game before that, 50 the game before that, then he had 30, 35, 32, 32, 32, 20 here against the Celtics. Al Horford kind of owns him. I don't know if I forget what happened this game, but I guess Horford did lock him up again here. Celtics, 27 points. Embiid struggles against the Celtics, but that's not the point of this video. Embiid's been going off lately, and if you guys follow me on Twitter, you know I do the underdog pick'ems. I picked his over for 34.5. It might have been 33. I think it was 34.5 points last night. And I was tweeting right when the game started, I think Embiid's about to go for 50. Like, usually when a number is that high for a points line, I'll take the under, or I just won't touch it, because like, that's just so high. But Embiid's been on such a tear that I felt comfortable taking him for over 34.5 points. So, and if we take a look right here, we can see last year, his MVP year, which is right here, he averaged 33.1. The one that I highlighted, the one in orange, 33.1. And then his rebounds was 10.2. It was only that low. I thought he had more, but 33 and 10. This year, he's averaging 33.8. This number is not updated. He's averaging 33.8 and 11.5 boards. He's also getting more blocks, more steals, and it's just, he's firmly in the MVP race to me. And the crazy part about it is that he's not even top 2 according to the odds. If you look at the odds, Jokic is 1, and it's a pretty strong 1. You know what I'm saying? They really think he's going to win. He's not favored to win it, but the odds look like Jokic is going to win it. And Jokic has been dealing with a lot. He's been having a lot of different, ejections recently. I think he's ejected twice in the last like 3 weeks. And come the end of the season, yeah, Jokic might be the MVP. He's averaging 27.2, 12.6, and 9.4 assists per game. I think personally, this is my opinion, maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong. I probably will be wrong. I think that his points per game will drop a little bit. They were higher. It was higher. I think he was averaging like 29 at one point, or at least 28.7 something, close to 29. but that was because they're dealing with some injuries. Jamal Murray missed some time, and that's the main guy. You know, when Jamal Murray's not there, Jokic has to do a lot more. His assist numbers also were a little bit higher when Murray was out. So I think his numbers will come down. His rebounding numbers should stay about the same, but his points per game might settle in around 26 come the end of the season if the Nuggets can stay healthy. And another big factor of the MVP voting and the MVP race most years, and especially this year, is going to be their team's records. Are they winning? Are they a 1 seed? Are they a 1 seed by far? Because we got like 4 or 5 of these guys in the MVP race. And if one of these guys, it doesn't even really matter about their stats are all going to be really good. If one of these guys is a 1 seed by a lot, like by 6 games, they're probably going to get the MVP just because of their team's success and their value that they're adding to that team. So Jokic is first according to the odds, third is Joel Embiid, and fourth is Giannis Antetokounmpo. So y'all could probably guess who number 2 is. We're going to talk about him in a second, but Giannis is 4th best according to the odds to win the MVP this year. He just scored 64 points and I believe 14 rebounds. Again, 32 free throws is absolutely insane. Giannis, Embiid, there's going to be some more people that we'll talk about. I don't want to spoil it yet, but some of these guys are real free throw merchants. They got Hall of Fame whistle badge on or something, bro. I don't know what it is, but Giannis is firmly in the MVP race as well. And this is another guy that come the end of the year, he could win it. Like, I really feel like pretty much all the people that I'm talking about in this video could win it. And so y'all let me know in the comments, because again, I want this channel to be a conversation. I want it to be, you know, a debate in the comment section. I'm going to be replying to everybody. Who do y'all have winning the MVP? If you were to pick right now, who is your pick to win it right now? I mean, I don't know if I'm torn between Jokic and Embiid. For real, those are my 2. And again, Embiid's 3rd in odds. I don't know how. I feel like he should be 2nd, if not 1st. If I had to pick, I don't know, bro. I think I might go Embiid. I think I might go Embiid back to back. It hurts me to say because I like Jokic more, and I've been on Jokic all year, the first 25 games. But last night was the night that it changed for me when Embiid dropped 41, and he's just been on this absolute tear. Nobody can really stop him. My pick right now would have to be Embiid. The guy that's 2nd best in odds to win the NBA MVP is, of course, Luka Doncic, who is surprisingly really carrying the Mavs to a lot of wins. And we're going to look at the records in a second, compare the MVP, race with their team success and all that. And all the guys that are in the MVP race are on top teams this year. So there's no real outlier. Like, there's not a guy like, say, Steph Curry. Like, he's not really in the MVP race. They're 10-13, I believe, the Warriors. There's no one that's like got a negative record that's in the MVP race. All of these players are from top teams. Luka is a guy averaging 32, 8.2 rebounds per game, 8.9 assists per game. And it just doesn't feel like it's his year yet. He is 24 years old. And he's a guy that I think... I've said this before. He's a guy that I think is going to win multiple MVPs. At least one. He's going to win at least one. He's a guy that's gonna win a ring or more. Maybe 2, 3, 4, 5. Who knows? But I think Luka might be that guy that when LeBron leaves, Steph leaves, KD leaves, maybe it's not going to be one guy, but maybe there's going to be a few, faces of the league. I think he's going to be one of them. It just makes too much sense. He's 24 years old. He's still really young. He's already playing at this level. I'm out on Luke. Well, that sounds crazy to say, but Luka's in the MVP race. He's actually 2nd in odds. Like I said, I don't think he's going to win it. He's playing insane, but I think the Mavs are going to start to lose more games. They're off to such a hot start. I don't think it's going to be sustainable. Luka's insane, but he's not really possible. He's not a pick for me. You know what I'm saying? Unless he would have to start doing some crazy things. The Mavs would have to keep, winning, stay hot, start out like 30-12. No, that's actually crazy. 30-15, 30-7, something crazy for me to be convinced on him. But I just think it's too hard to win MVP this year, and I just don't think it's his year. Next up, we have the guy that's actually 5th best in odds to win the NBA MVP, and that is going to be Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, averaging 30 points per game, 5.5 rebounds per game, and 6 assists per game. That's actually surprising to me. When I looked at the odds, I was like, wow, SGA, number 5. Like, I would have thought he'd be like 7 or 8, but 5 is crazy in such a tough, MVP landscape or whatever you want to call it. SGA being 5, I think has to do a lot with his team's surprising success. And I'm not saying surprising, like no one expected this to happen, but we're gonna look at the records in a second. I think they're like 16-9 or something. Like I thought they could be positive, but you know, 25 games into the season, I would give them more of a record like 14-11 or 13-12. Like I didn't expect them to start out this hot. And then sixth in odds, we have, of course, Boston Celtics forward Jayson Tatum, averaging 27.4 points per game, 8.8 rebounds per game, and 4.2 assists per game. He's a guy that I thought like for sure was going to average 30 points per game this year, and he still could. It's probably going to be tough. He'll probably finish around 28, 29. He has not had the best start to the season. He's had a really good start, but I think he could do better. You know, but I do think Porzingis, Jaylen Brown, even Drew Holiday, but Drew Holiday doesn't take too many shots. I think a lot of these guys are taking some shots away from him, but in the overall grand scheme of things, it's good for the team's success. They have a lot of scoring options, but you know, compared to Embiid, who really only has to compete with like Tyrese Maxey, or say Luka, who really only has to compete with Kyrie, who's also banged up, it's just hard to put up those numbers. But Tatum is in the MVP race, and he's another guy like Luka, who I don't think is going to win this year, but down the line should win an MVP or multiple. I'll give Tatum 1 to 2 MVPs down the line. I just don't think this is the year. Okay, so now taking a look at these teams' records, like I said, if you want to win the NBA MVP, in my opinion, something that it will most likely come down to is your team being a 1 seed. Like, I don't see the MVP from this year coming from a team that is 4th seed or below. You've got to be a top 3 seed. And if you're the 3rd seed, then your numbers have to be insane, in my opinion. Or maybe you just got to be like 1 win away from the 1st seed. You know what I'm saying? But the MVP will most likely come from the 1st or 2nd seed. Celtics right now, the 1 seed. But again, Tatum's numbers don't look as good as all of the other players because the Celtics kind of have, you know, just a better roster. They might have the best roster on paper in the entire NBA. They are 11-0 at home. But yeah, I don't think Tatum's gonna win. So the Bucks 17-7, another team just going off, and all of these guys are on these top teams. Sixers 16-7. That's another reason why I think Embiid could win the MVP this year. I didn't think the Sixers would be this good. They're a team that I had lower than everybody else. I don't know what people thought their win total would be, maybe 50 or 48 or whatever. I thought that their win total would be more around 43, 44. Like losing Harden, and I don't know, I just didn't expect this from them. I don't think most people did, but they are definitely surprising people. Moving on, we have players in the Western Conference. Anthony Edwards is leading the Timberwolves right now, but I guess his numbers aren't good enough. He's another guy that could win an MVP in the future. He probably will win 1 or 2. SGA leading the Thunder to 15-7 record, 2nd in the West, absolutely insane. And then Luka leading the Mavs to 15-8 record, 3rd in the West. Again, that team's not really good. Kyrie's been missing games, and then just the rest of the team is just not. You're not happy to really start most of those guys. Lively's looked pretty solid, so again, he's fine. Grant Williams is okay. Derrick Jones Jr. has also looked pretty solid, but they're a team that could use some, they could use some pieces, and Luka's really been carrying them. The Nuggets 16-9 with Jokic, of course. If you watch this full video, comment down below loyal. No one else is going to comment that unless they made it this far. I'm going to go through heart every comment, reply to y'all. Yeah, I appreciate y'all watching. We're uploading daily, and click the video on your screen right here if you guys have not seen it yet.